Good morning to all my professionals out there, all the parents and students, and everybody who just likes to watch. Good morning. We're going to talk about degrees and skills, full time job, full time schooling. I meant full time student, and student aid fraud. More like degrees or school. Degrees or skills. Which one you prefer? And of course, before we start, close a few things out. Gotta say our disclaimer. We don't want people out here claiming we didn't tell them what to do. Hopefully they watched the beginning of the video. So, what is brain fart, guys? Brain fart. Okay. Trying to get to the disclaimer. I put it in every video. So, waiting on it to load. Representing my 2 year again. And I see a bed right there. It looks like somebody hit me, but I'm just getting older. That's all. So, disclaimer. The video presented here, the live screen presented here, is for informational purposes only. And therefore, if you are to choose to attend the institution, please do your own research and consult with a specialist at that institution. Please do your own research and consult with a specialist at the institution you are interested in. We're gonna get this down, Pat. I am not a financial aid specialist, academic advisor, or representing any institution. Speaking on behalf of creator, Henry is only speaking from his experience. Okay. Now we got that out of the way. Once again, let's talk. So, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I laid my head down, I said, do we got some news out here? And there's always news in higher education, don't get me wrong. And you just wonder, like, do people care? Because higher education is one of those career fields, right? It's one of the career fields where you don't see instant change. It's not like the stock market. It's not like real estate. It's not like sports. It's higher education. And like, even those three I just named, those don't happen instantly. You know, like stock market, you gotta learn it. Like behind the scenes, you gotta learn it. You gotta learn when to buy low, sell high, long term, short term. Real estate, same thing. You gotta talk to people, know who you're talking to, talk to the right people behind the scenes before you actually close a deal. So it's like, even sports, you gotta be in the lab, working on your craft. And so it's just like nothing happens instant, but I feel like when I'm talking about higher education, people expect me to just like, I don't know, get them instant answers. You know, like, oh, go do this. But honestly, I do give you instant answers though. You know, I won't take pride in instant. I like you to do your own research and prep, because when I'm going to the live, y'all. I'm going to the control room. So when I say start at a 2 year, then bridge to a 4 year, that's instant tangible, or that's tangible. That's instant, something you can do right away to change your career / life. So would you prefer a degree or would you prefer the skills? I say a degree. Would you prefer degrees or skills? And hold on, guys, I might be a little behind because I didn't. Let me see. If I'm not talking, you don't hear me, let me know. So let's see where we at. Are we good? I had to turn the Wi-Fi on, guys. Make sure we good. So, yeah, degrees or skills. And I came across this article. It was interesting though, because I always hear people try to choose between a degree and skills. And I don't know. Every time, you know me, I'm a strong believer in starting at a 2 year. And when I started at a 2 year, it's nothing against 2 years or 4 years. It's just realization. And so when I started at a 2 year, when I started at a 2 year, I was doing a trade. I spoke on that a little bit because that's a skill. I preferred to get, I did welding first. But before I did welding, I did CMS, a certified manufacturing specialist. So I was even trying to do the trades that everybody's trying to reboot back up. Everything moves in trends. Like when I first graduated high school, it was like, don't get me wrong, I could be wrong on this, but when I first graduated in 2017, you gotta remember I had a whole summer of 2017 and I had a whole year of 2017 before 2018 pretty much. And I was in class with people because I went to a Title One school. So Title One is like a Section 8 poverty school. Now the school's a lot better, but you get the gist. And so my school was my school was heavily in my school had a Booker T model based school. What is a Booker T model? So Booker T Washington, if I'm not mistaken, guys, I believe that's his name, because I know it's a wrestler called Booker T, but I don't want you all to confuse Booker T Washington. So Booker T, yeah. So Booker T Washington was definitely, yeah, that's his name. I just want to make sure because I know it's a wrestler. So Booker T Washington, he was somebody that introduced the trade school type of ordeal, because in the time for African Americans, they were we were doing a lot of trades and handiwork, right? So my high school took his model. He introduced like the industrial. He's actually the founder of Tuskegee. And so anybody who goes to Tuskegee could correct me and be like, no, it ain't Booker T, but I'm pretty sure it's Booker T Washington. I always say it should be because just humbly, I'm a humble speaker. And so, and I'm just ranting and I be talking. So I do like to back myself up. And so once again, we got the internet, but I'm believe he founded Tuskegee Institute, formerly known as Tuskegee University, and he introduced the trades. Like, so if you wanted to be a mechanic, if you wanted to be the cosmetologies, of course he didn't introduce the cosmetology, they added that on, but mechanics, electricals, welding, anything that's gonna work with them hands, blue collar jobs, he was the reason for that. And so my school worked heavily on that. And so when I graduated, because remember, I had a reading problem, like a comprehension, my counselor, shout out to him, Mr. Myers. If you ever catch one of these videos or catch me again, I didn't have a plan at the high school. And I remember Dr. Richardson now, she had said, she told me to spill like between their conversation when I was just 18. And so they told me like, man, he was like, he really don't have a plan. Trying to figure out this. He trying to figure out what he want to do. I'm trying to put something together. I literally was finna walk across the stage because I could not pass no ASVAB. I really was like getting a job. I wasn't trying not to get a job, but I wasn't trying to get a job that wasn't gonna really apply to my life. Like I kind of understood that early. Like I'm not taking a job in something that I know I'm not gonna do in the future. Though it can build skills. Now that I know that, taking a job in something else can build skills for something else that you could want to do. And so Booker T. Washington, shout out to him. But I was a big supporter and like not getting a degree. I preferred to get a skill, then get a degree. I could take the money from the skill and get a degree. So In this article, I'm going to read it with you. We're going to talk through it. I'm going to highlight some of the main points in it as I'm looking at it right now. And so it says earlier this week, we announced a new partnership. So somebody announced a partnership already. I do not see no names on it. We announced a new partnership between University of Michigan and Google. So the University of Michigan and Google have done the partnership. What is this partnership? Free access to Google career certificates and Google's AI training courses for more than 66,000 students across the UM's Ann Arbor. I don't know what that is. The Ann Arbor, but University of Michigan pretty much. And their other campuses. So pretty much their campuses. These are high demand, job ready programs and now available through the university's platform for online and hybrid learning, Michigan Online. So it's on Michigan Online. The courses and certificates help students to develop in demand skills in areas like cybersecurity, data analytics, digital marketing, UX design, project management, and foundational AI. So project management is becoming a thing. And I think project management, so this partnership is great, for one. I don't consider doing AI. I am going to do AI. I got to find the time to do AI. Probably be a good time this summer to do AI, right? So, because we don't have no classes, right? We working on the business, trying to build this up. But in the meantime, we do need to add on some skills myself. Even though I got these degrees, technically, when I got these 2 associate degrees right here, and y'all working on my master's, I'll be honest with you. My associate degrees are really kind of outdated. You know, like I got them, they're respectful, but at the same time, it's kind of like outdated because I haven't seen it in like 5 years now. At a certain point, your degree becomes kind of not irrelevant, but kind of like when the last time you see it, like you got the experience, right? So I remember when I was getting my bachelor's, somebody actually took the UX designs in my class. They were actually, I believe, a UX design major. Or there was like, once they graduate with their bachelor's, they're going to jump into the UX design. Like get their bachelor's at our school and then jump into UX design at another place that's teaching them that. And so cybersecurity, I know a lot of people that do cybersecurity, got the certificates. Data analytics, I've been hearing about data analytics growing a lot too. And so they're saying both graduates of the University of Michigan. We are both proud graduates of the University of Michigan. I'm not sure they didn't quote nobody right here, but we will keep looking. They said our undergraduate experience in Ann Arbor was transformational. University of Michigan getting some advertisement, a false choice we can't afford to make. They said today's learners are navigating a noisy debate. Is a degree still worth it? Should they invest in college? Or seek out a set of marketable skills through short-term training. So I didn't get a chance to talk about this, guys. I should have put this in the headline. I watched the Barack Obama interview. Now, I could have talked about it before, but I don't think I talked about it, at least on camera live. And so Obama had did an interview. Shout out to Barack Obama, man. Very good interview. Very, what's that word? Elegant, man. Very well elegant, like with speaking and like. I'm gonna type in Barack Obama because the college they deserve a shout out for even doing a great job asking the right questions, unless he just was answering his own questions. But it seemed like he was answering their questions. Barack Obama, I believe it's Hamilton College. Yes, I always gotta look it up because I'm like, did I get this right? So Barack Obama spoke at Hamilton College in the interview. I advise everybody to watch that interview if you're watching this video. So Barack Obama, it's called A Conversation with President Barack Obama on YouTube, Hamilton College. Barack Obama actually spoke on this because it's a big debate right now. Like if you're considering to go to college or you're listening to this or you're a professional, whatever, right? And you're a teacher and you got kids in the classroom, Barack Obama literally said like it came up. Is a degree still worth it? And he said, with the way AI is growing, he feel that a degree is still worth it. Why? Because with AI, well, he said a liberal arts degree. So, guys, for everybody who doesn't know, there's like a micro level of higher education. So, your school, like this school right here I went to, VSU, this school was known as a liberal arts school. So, there's a way you go on like the Department of Education or just like try Googling, but definitely on Department of Education, if I'm not mistaken. And I should come back to it. I'm gonna write that down. I should come back to this for you all and look through this for you so I can, walk through how to find it. So find what your, I'm gonna say college is known for. Because a lot of people, I'm gonna say it's a way to search it. So every college is known for something. Like once again, this college right here, Valdosta State University. Once again, if I attended your institution, I'm gonna do nothing but praise it because I feel like you had some very good prices and you gave me a great education for a very low cost. Shout out to that. So, and I felt like you built my confidence too. So your institution definitely gets the love for free. That's only respectful and right. That's how schools get bigger and better. Not showing love to another school that you didn't go to. So VSU is known as, when we looked at it, I believe they weighed it off of how many students were in each program or each college. Because when you go to college, when I went to Valdosta State University, right? Valdosta State University has different colleges. So these are like other schools too. 2 years not more. 2 years is not like that, but universities are like that. So Valdosta State University has it'll be like a person's name, and then it'll be like this college, like the business college, or this the psychology college, this the science college, this the public health college, this the biology, and so on and so on, right? And so it weighs off of like, if I'm not mistaken, guys, I gotta look at it myself. It's going to weigh off of like how many students are in each of those programs, which is dope because I didn't know this. I didn't even know this. So when I went to when I was in graduate school at Georgia State, shout out to them. And so when I was doing my schoolwork in my program, I had to write a paper, or no, it was a discussion. We had to do a discussion. And so that stuck out to me because I was like, oh, of course I looked at the schools I went to. And so my school VSU was a liberal arts school. And Obama said, you need to go to a liberal arts school. No, he didn't say you need to go to a liberal arts school. I'll tell you that. He said you should get a liberal arts degree because with the way technology is going in the future and with the way AI is going, people are losing communication skills. 100% true. People don't know how to talk. Oh, my phone right here. People don't know how to talk to each other. People don't know how to, like, if you ever notice now, like, I don't know how the business world gets down. People try to hurry up and be like, I'm on a time. But I notice people because, people feel like time is money. And I've seen people who have a lot of money, guys, who they are on the time constraint. But it's like they make time for who they want to make time for. That's the difference. So they're like, I'm not gonna sit here and talk to somebody about what I know what they're not gonna do. That's the difference. I'd rather sit down with somebody who I know is working towards something and talk to them for hours because we're learning from each other on what we're trying to do. That's the difference. Even Jay-Z said it in an interview. He said he sits down with one of his business partners, but childhood friends, and he said they sit down and talk for hours on the phone about like, man, can you believe how far we done came? Because at a certain point, you gotta, of course you gotta sit down and try to figure out how to navigate certain things, but eventually you're gonna be paying people to figure out those things. And then like you're still doing your own homework too, But at the same time, it's like everything's gonna move autonomously. I think I did good on that. I got that word out pretty smooth, right? And so I love to talk about that because I got a liberal arts degree, and my degree was based on perspectives, shifting perspectives, humble, how to be more even humbly speaking, understanding every person's situation. Because as a great business person, of course, your main objective is this when you start your business. And then it's going to be this. Then you can help more people as you get more people to come. And so I love that when he said that because it's true. And right now, it's not valued. It goes in a cycle. Sometimes it doesn't get valued. Then when people start realizing, they're like, oh, you got a liberal arts degree. What was in that? Communication, perspective breakdown, seeing others' point of view when they're talking and speaking and engagement. So doing presentations to make others feel all included, making sure I can get at least, if it's 20 people in the room, making sure I can get 15 people in the room who appreciate and understands, like, oh, he saw my perspective, and it's 15 people in a room with different perspectives and different upbringings, right? So I want to reach 15 people. I want to reach out of that 20. I want to reach 15 of them. 5 of them might say, but now we can see on that research and data when we get it back from those 5 who said, oh, he didn't relate to me. I went through this. Now we know, okay, we need to incorporate that next time. So then when we speak, because it's always going to be like that. It's always going to be somebody who felt like it didn't reach them. And then we build a community. So I love that Obama talked about that because a degree is definitely still worth it. I feel like everybody, just like I feel like everybody should, can't say that part. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell y'all one day. But I feel like everybody should get a degree. And so along with a skill though, like I said, if I can go back, well, kind of in the situation now. I don't have summer classes. I'm trying to figure out what I can do in the summer, right? I'm debating. Summer just finna get started in June. So I'm debating, like, is it too late? It might be too late. Who knows, right? Or it might just be getting ready. Who knows? I know I got a lot of time when I graduate. Do I want to read book? Do I want to read a book this summer? Do I want to try to get in the course? Could it be too late? What do I want to do? You know, you have these options, right? It's good to have options. So right here, they say a college degree is a powerful foundation. And when paired with flexible, high-impact programs like Google Career Certificates, AI Essentials, and Prompting Essentials, students are positioned to thrive in a dynamic global workforce. So that's true. They said this is not diluting the value of higher education. Prime example right here. This is not about diluting the value of higher education. One more time. This is not about diluting the value of higher education. It's never about that. Higher education is not going nowhere. For anybody who think higher education is going anywhere, I don't know what to say about you because higher education will never go anywhere. You need higher education. It's a foundation in how you're going to think as a person or advance yourself as a person. I always say, like, people say you don't need a degree people say you don't need a degree. And when I hear you don't need a degree, I feel like that's code for you don't need an education. Granted, some people say they can learn everything on YouTube, to YouTube University. I mean, they learn everything they need on YouTube. True. People say they can learn everything on Google or now ChatGPT, they say, or whatever, right? But it's like, it's always missing information in those. And it can be the same in the institution. But I told one of my peers, I said, all right, you can either learn in the book and learn from what somebody else did. That's why they have case studies of what happened with this situation, and you can go about how to navigate it. Or you can learn the hard way and go to a place called jail. And you can learn through experience, or you can learn through tickets. You can learn through disciplinary actions. You can learn through whatever, right? Or you can learn through somebody else's stories and going to school and reading. Certifications. Even when you get certification, you still need to know how to work in a workplace. School teaches you that. My 2-year taught me how to work in a workplace, how things should be conducted. So I always like to mention that. And we're at, okay. So that's just a little bit on that, guys. That's an article by Inside Higher Ed. This is their degrees and skills, a more promising approach. We didn't even get through the whole thing. Actually, we got through most of it. Yeah, we got through most of it, and it's pretty good. I'm definitely going to finish it. Since I started it, I do not like stopping something when I start it. So I always like to do that. I'm gonna take a little water right quick. So our next one, full-time jobs and full-time schooling. So yeah, I see y'all. Come to my eye. I see y'all. So this one is more like a experience. I did it. You know, I did it. I do it. And so, let me click on that. So, I had a full-time job at my 4 year. When I transferred to my university, I was working full-time. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. When I started when I'm in graduate school right now, I had a full-time job. And of course, I waited till I got real close to my program to leave because I'm almost done with my program to pay for schooling and still have enough in the emergency fund to pay for school. And so balancing full-time work and full-time schooling, I appreciate that, Jalen Talbert. I appreciate that. Appreciate that love. We got to. We got to. And so balancing full-time work and full-time school as of course, a college student, full-time work. I remember at Georgia Tech, shout out to them. That's the previous place I worked. Very prestige. I don't really like college rankings like that, me personally. I was just reading the name. Okay, Tisha. Thank you. Thank you, Tisha. So y'all probably wonder who Tisha. That's my sister. She shows me all the support. She's still one of the people that believe in me. So I believe in me too, but it's good to have other people believe in you early. And so one of the students at Georgia Tech, they asked me, very, very sincere. Now think about this. This is a Georgia Tech student. They're going to step into, Georgia Tech students, from my experience, they step into a lot of money when they graduate. Straight up. They're going to get a job. Straight up. Very good pay. Decent pay at least. And then they should advance that next year depending on how they work. And the student asked me, they said, they thought for one, I look really young still, but I'm like, I'm 25. And then at the time I was 25. And then they're like, oh, but you're in graduate school, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm at Georgia State. They was like, you're in grad school? Yeah. And then I'm like, then they asked me like, you're full time? I'm like, yeah. And then they're like, how do you balance that? And I'm like, well, you balance it by first being online. I'm fully online. Now, you don't have to be fully online to go to graduate school and work full time. You're just going to be in night school. I didn't want to do that in the city of Atlanta. No disrespect to Atlanta people, but traffic is terrible. I'm not going to work one place and have to drive across another place in traffic. Atlanta traffic is just always busy. I'm talking to people from different parts of the world. They telling me Atlanta traffic is different. So I just wanted to stay online. But it's not even online fully. It's like it's online, but we have to meet once a month in the program on top of that. So it'll be times where I get off work at 4:30 and I get off of work at 4 o'clock and I had to go to class at 4:30 to like 7 or 7:30, sometimes if we run over. It wasn't that bad once you get used to it. It wasn't that bad. The full-time job allowed me to pay for school, put funds aside, invest in the stock market. It allowed me to play the game different from my peers, once again, who are in college and doing the traditional way of college. There are some cons to this, right? It's always pros and cons to everything. The con is you really don't have time to network sometimes, depending on the job. Like, I'm networking with people who are professionals at Georgia Tech. That's the difference. I'm not networking with people who my age. I'm networking with people who are professionals. So they already got connections. That's what I was like, this is better than, it's not better, but it's better to work with people who are already established to me. Now, the people who are not established yet, I'm still working relationships with them because, like, oh, how old are you? Da da da. The conversation is just more simple. The professional's like, what you doing? Or why you working full time? And da da. They ask a lot of questions. Older people ask a lot of questions. I do too. It's good to ask questions. And just balancing the school, and she was shocked because it looked like she was thinking about it, or maybe her student loans, if she got them. I'll be honest. Every student I talked to at the GT, the Buzz, they had student loans, or they was trying to figure out should they take them. They were debating. One student, he actually is about to be a freshman this year. He was debating on staying on campus and not staying on campus. And then somebody told him that he should stay on campus and get the college experience. I said, that's broken. I told him, I said, that's broken and that's flawed. I said, there's no such thing as a college experience. Because people now who said they wanted the college experience, they end up getting off campus sophomore year, maybe early junior year, because they realized that it wasn't worth it. It's not worth it, like paying interest on fees. And I told him, he's very brilliant, very, like, he takes apart iPods, put them together. He can code left and right, right to Z, but at the same time, he doesn't know how to navigate this higher education and how to best set his life up to advance his career. Because once again, I love to say this, you can pay 100,000, 150,000, which is realistic. We had a 1.7 trillion almost for student loan debt. You can have 150 in student loans, but when you step into your job, which is like a very good high career field at a school like that, like engineering, biomedical engineering, but they only gonna pay you like 60, 70 at the gate. You pay way more for your education because you stayed on campus. I'm pretty sure they had some good prices without the campus and fees, without the room and board and all that. But you stayed on campus. You didn't know no better because you was trying to get the college experience. You could have commuted because he's local too. I said, you're local? No, stay off campus. He was like, well, what about the connections in the organization? You can still do the organizations. You can still make the connections. You just stay at the campus. Like, when you go to the campus, park your car and just be there all day. And then if you need to spend night at somebody a dorm or whatever, you in college. That's so normal. And so when you done there at school, like you're done, you just commute back home. By the time you leave the school, it's gonna be nighttime. Traffic is a little low at night. It's a little low when you leave in the city. But during those peak hours, it can be difficult. So that's why I told the young lady, it was a young lady who asked me about that. And multiple people asked me that. They're like, you don't be tired. I'd be very tired, but it's only temporary. Like, now I'm looking at the finish line. One more semester, right? School paid for. Had a job with benefits. So I don't regret it for anything. I always tell people, I think everybody should work full-time and go to school. If it's too much for you, you should definitely be part-time and then full-time. You should be part-time and full-time in the classroom because it's hard. It can be difficult. It can be difficult. And, hold on, guys. We need to plug up our computer. Hold on. Ooh, okay. We had to plug up our computer. It was about to be bad in here for us. So I think I was gonna say something. Where we at? Okay. I was gonna say something. It was a couple of my peers though in the class. Actually, we worked together on a project. I won't say their name yet. Haven't really. It's kind of weird mentioning people nicknames, even names. Like I prefer last names because some people use nicknames for social media platforms, but they would never use their government last name, which is pretty good. So, and plus a last name, everybody got the same last name pretty much. But one of my peers in my graduate program, they were working full time. They're about the same age as me, working full time and going to graduate school. Graduate school is really, unless you're, I'm being honest, unless you're like a privileged student who family supports you, you really don't have to work full time. Don't make it hard on yourself. That's a bump. That's a bang. Don't make it hard on yourself. Play to your strengths, right? From a sports people, if a defender is giving you an open shot, take the open shot. If they're playing tight, go around. And so, yeah, I always tell people that because in undergraduate, that was different though. Undergraduate was different. Everybody doesn't think about in undergraduate, should I work full time and go to school? People don't think about that. But what I did also, people want to go for those big jobs. People want to go for, remember, start at a 2-year, go to a 4-year. Start at a 2-year, go to a 4-year. I remember, when I was working at my 4-year undergraduate. See, at my 2-year, I was part-time. At my 4-year, I was full-time. I never wanted a director position. I never wanted like a coordinator position while in college. I just want an entry-level job that is more like, tell me what to do and I do it. Because it's like this. I think we all know this. The more money you make, the more responsibilities you have. And sometimes that requires staying and work longer or taking your work home. Now, that's a problem if you taking work home and you in college. Because then you have to pick between do I complete the work that pays me or do I complete the work that doesn't pay me and I'm paying them to get a piece of paper. And that's outside. If y'all hear that, that's outside. That is not me. That is outside. And so it becomes a good question. It's early. It'd be hard talking this long. Maybe I'll get used to it. Whew, be talking. And so, yes. So be careful what job you take. I always took a front desk admin job, but I knew it would get me exposure to working with students still in higher education because I knew higher education was for me. Higher education is my career field. It's it's simple to me. It's not even complicated. It's just simple to me. And when you find something that really changes people's lives early, it's like, oh, this gonna be here. But I wasn't seeing nobody else do this. Nobody else. I watched this for 5 years. Play out, guys. For 5 years, I watched this. I watched people just, what's that I'm looking for? I watched 5 years that people would start talking about starting at 2-year college or how to go to college, but they would stop because it wasn't getting views or clicks on YouTube. And when it doesn't get views and clicks, people immediately run away from it. And like, I seen it. I was like, oh, let me see who I can find on here. See, because I was looking at my competition. I got to look at my competition, who I'm be going against. And they'll talk about it. Then they'll go do something else, like a day in life or life as this, life is that. And they'll stop talking about college. Or they was talking about college. The best way to go to college is to get $100,000 worth of scholarships or $200,000 worth of scholarships. I'm gonna be honest with you. Before we go into the next topic, ain't nobody getting $100,000 in scholarships. Ain't nobody is getting, that's the Georgia coming out. Ain't nobody. Nobody is getting $200,000 in scholarships. The only person who's going to get the $100,000 in scholarship is that one person who got it. Nobody is going to keep giving out that much money to one person. So when people come on there, I've seen plenty of people fall off because of that, because it's not realistic. So what you going to do when the students apply, they do everything the same way you did and they don't get it. Because people who pick scholarships are humans. It's not like an AI. It's not a robot. It's a human picking who deserves this scholarship. They're going to pick it up like this and say, you got to think about moods. Like somebody probably watched a movie last night, psychology. This all plays in the school, right? I took psychology courses. If you go to sleep watching something, let's say you was watching a story about a kid who is trying to go to college, but they're stuck in poverty. Common story, right? It's a very common story. And so they went to bed watching a movie about that. So now they're going to wake up and say, oh, I just watched a movie about that. I'm going to get them a scholarship. They're going to get this scholarship. And then a person with another story probably didn't have a struggle story. They probably had like this going to help me advance my career. This going to help me this will help me save money. Like I wrote a scholarship like that for one. I applied to scholarships and it never worked out for me. That's why I kept working. That's why I just used my own money. And so I wrote a story about, if you give me this scholarship, I don't have to pay for school out of my pocket. And I can take the money that I didn't have to pay for school and use that to fund my business so I can help this business for working class people. Because these are working class people who can't afford to pay for school. These are working class people. And so that's why it's kind of hard for me to sell a school to you. It's kind of like being technically I am a salesman because I pretty much did sales all my higher education career, whether you agree or not, I did. Because I'm telling people how much a program is. I won't get into details of that. I'm telling people how much a program is, and people asking me, so what goes on in this program? Who is teaching this program? And what can my child expect to learn from this program? Whoa. So now what? I have to know what I'm talking about and what they're going to gain from this before they spend, $5,000, $10,000 on the program. And so, for example, I was at the 2-year, but 2-year was cheaper. Let me be real. It was probably like $1,500, $2,000. But that's a better price than paying $5,000 or $10,000, right? And so you have to know, just like sales, when people sell cars, they have to know what type of engine this is. They have to know what type of steering wheel, what type of brand, how long this car, what's the average life on this car? 5 years. 5 years. So when they get this education, they're like, so can they get a job right away out of school? Oh yeah, at the 2-year, I'll tell them real quick, yeah, our students get jobs right away when they graduate. If not, they're going to advance their education at a university at this university, that university, this university. People's eyes light up like they're going to that school, they're going to this school, they're going to that school at the start of that 2-year. And it's like, yeah, it's where you start and then where you finish. You don't have to start there right away. And it's all the same, in a sense. It's just 2 years out your life. Out of your 4, if you get your master's and your lawyer, and stuff like that, it's just 2 years sacrificed out of the next 6 years of your college career, 7 years. I've been in college for almost a decade now. My goodness. So that's a little bit about full-time jobs and full-time school and the rabbit hole of that. And so do we got any news before we keep talking? So look, my computer listening to me now. Now it's telling me Google is helpful, AI is here, and telling me about the Gemini. See, man, that's why you can't trust computers. I just talked about this, and it's already popping up. Kind of like the RDC world, when the phones were talking, and they like, hey, we're going to show him a whole bunch of this, and we're going to show him a whole bunch of that. And so Oh, wow. That's not going to end well. Oh, that's why. Okay. I'm not getting into that. I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I'm talking about higher education, I don't got time to worry about the nonsense. Higher education is not going to change, meaning the way I got around and got into school, I was not going to get into university out the gate. I don't know if I spoke on that. I just wasn't. I didn't have the highest SAT scores. I didn't take it's a writing portion unless they changed it. I didn't do the writing portion. I had A's and B's, but didn't really take strong enough classes like that. I wasn't getting into no. I got denied by every university, and my mom told me if you already know me or you watch this already, I say it every time. She asked me how I was gonna get there, who was gonna pay for it, and where you work. I couldn't answer none of those questions, so I ended up at a 2-year on accident, life changing, and it worked out perfect. So the next one we're gonna talk about though is the Linda. Y'all know if y'all watch me, I like Linda McMahon. WWE cracking the beers on the stage. I'm not making this up. I'm just telling y'all the truth. That's what they did back in the day. And I ain't jump off no ladder, but I definitely used to be on that trampoline. And so Linda in the Department of Education, as they're wrestling universities and colleges right now. But they talked about the U.S. Department of Education fights fraud and student aid to protect the American taxpayer. So if anybody knows, the administration has been on a big, we're going to cut everything. Dodge, we're slicing all this money so taxpayers can save money. Or allegedly working class. I don't know. This is what they telling me. I'm just like you on the outside looking in. So what I do know is that we can read, understand, and figure out how we want to navigate it. And so they said, I wrote it down. What was the first one I wrote down? Because I believe the first one I was like, okay. So, okay, let's start here. So a recent comprehensive analysis uncovered nearly 90 million disbursed to ineligible recipients, including thousands of deceased individuals receiving some form of payment. Excuse me. So if anybody knows about that, we know that's like anything in life with fraud. Money is going to people who have been deceased. So they're saying like your student aid. Once again, this is federal. I don't really speak on banks if you're giving a bank your money to go to college, unless an article comes up about it. And stay away from Sally Mae. Stay away from Sally Mae. But $90 million dispersed to ineligible recipients. And they was talking about deceased with fraud. That's what we was gonna say. Fraud, it always happens in fraud. It always happens. So somehow they got movies on this. Somehow the deceased is making money, but they're not alive. So it's the same thing right now with your financial aid, which is your Pell. And remember, your secondary. We're going to call it your secondary, right? What is your secondary? I see we got somebody watching. Your secondary is like, if you're in Georgia, you have the Hope Scholarship. I believe not California, but Carolina, for example, too, they have a secondary. It's like that. If you have a certain GPA requirement, they give you extra money to go to school. So I always like to call it your secondary. Some states don't have a secondary. I'm sorry for you. You need to ask your elected officials. And so as I scan, talking about they're trying to blah, blah, blah. They're blaming the Biden administration, of course. I will say that. The previous administration with not Biden, but the previous administration for the Department of Education, I don't feel like they were doing what they were supposed to do. Strongly. I don't feel like things were getting done. I don't know if things are getting done now, honestly, but I know there were some concerns when speaking with other higher ed professionals. Of course, I won't disclose where they work and everything out of respect, but we had conversations about there are some things that I don't know why it hasn't been updated. My comment, my hook is that the Higher Education Act of 1965 when it was made, they updated in '07 or '08, one of them. And so I'm going to assume it was '07. I always say '07, '08 because I know that's when the housing crisis happened in '08. And I know after '08, everybody was just going through it because everybody lost their house, jobs, retirements, and much more. And so, but it hasn't been updated since then. So we're working off of, if anybody is working out of those, out of that Higher Education Act that was last updated '07 or '08, you're moving off of old tactics with a new higher education system in place. What you mean? So I mean is that like higher education prices have rise, right? The Higher Education Act of '07 or '08, I'm just gonna say '07 right now. That new updated Higher Education Act of '07 is still based on when prices were good, like prices were not too expensive in college, right? And so, but college prices are too high. So they are telling the student these methods that are not working no more. So you're giving them the wrong keys to success in life. Makes sense, right? But it doesn't make sense to the traditional. I'm not traditional in higher education. That's where I bump heads with some people because I come with a different perspective that, look, no, that's not going to work. They need to do this and do that and do this. You can't tell them to get a loan and they don't got a job. You got to tell them to get a job and then get a loan. You got to tell, like, you're not giving them the key. You need to tell them how to budget before they even take out some money. Like, we're working backwards in higher education. I'm not a finance major. I'm just saying this is common sense if you want to get a debt-free degree. So, deceased aid recipients. So they said that a cross-check of student aid records against the federal grant laws with the Social Security Death Index. So a Social Security Death Index revealed that more than 30 million of student aid was given to thousands of deceased individuals. How true is that? I don't know. Right now, I don't know because I would have to go on the Social Security Death Index. I don't even know how they got that number because maybe they're doing like they have to go look at validate Social Security numbers. I gotta shout them out. They better hit up Palantir because Palantir, man, is perfect for this. Trying to find fraud if somebody's deceased, this is perfect for using it. Early investor, always gotta mention that. So then they talked about the immigration parole ineligibility. They said individuals granted immigration parole status, a temporary destination issued by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, are not immediately eligible for student aid. So if you're immigration on parole status and you have a temporary destination, you're immediately not eligible for federal student aid. And so it says the department has gained additional specifics on student status from DHS to prevent disbursements to ineligible individuals moving forward. Immigration parole, that's not my area of focus. I'll be honest with you. You actually have people in higher education who focus on visas, immigration, and everything. Eventually, when we get better, we get more known, people can bring their, be like, oh, here, I can help talk about that, da, da, da. Oh, you come on, we can bring you on about 30 minutes, 15 minutes and talk about it, or longer if needed, but definitely probably 15 to 30. And they can give us their perspectives on that, on visas. Like students have to go through different type of visas. International students have to do the visas, a lot of paperwork, find the jobs. It's a very complicated process. They have to get certain, like, from experience, they even have to, because they don't even have a social security or birth certificate. They have to be generated some type of form of identification to track them here. So those are very interesting conversations if nobody knows about that. So immigration can get very tricky in higher education. And so they got key protection tools. I don't think that really applies to us, but it may. They're talking about, oh, this does apply to us a little bit. We wish we had our financial aid specialist right now. So they said the department resumed automated post-screening of student aid records for 2024 to 2025. 2025, and 2025 to 2026. The your FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid cycles. They said without this process, student records are less likely to be up to date and reflect recent changes to students' financial aid eligibility. So for people who are getting financial aid, real quick, they are cracking down on financial aid. Now, I don't know how they're cracking down on it. That's why I wish I had a specialist in here. But they're cracking down on it. Linda and the administration are cracking down on how you're going to get your financial aid. So if you're going to be a financial aid student, meaning if you're going to get Pell, depending on what state you're in, if you're getting that secondary, you have to figure out is this going to affect you. I know in the last stream or two streams ago, we talked about in summer 2026, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act it hasn't been passed. It's in the Senate right now, possibly on its way to Trump, the president. So if it gets to the president, he's going to sign it because they put this bill together on May 20th. So you really have to pay attention right now because they're going to cut your aid, and then they're saying, I don't know if that's going to be true, but they're also saying that you're going to have to most likely take 15 credit hours a semester. So there's some big changes coming. And they said, for example, once a student reaches their lifetime limit for receiving federal Pell grants, as a Pell Grant person, I was a Pell Grant person. So when you receive that limit for receiving your federal Pell grants, post-screening flags this limit in the student loan database, which prevents a financial aid administrator from awarding federal Pell Grant aid. So they never did screenings before? They never did post-screenings before. It got me wondering. I don't know if they've been doing this or not. That's why we need our specialists in here. And it says the post-screening is critical for the federal student aid programs because it ensures that students only access the aid they are eligible to receive. And then it says as of mid-January, an approximate $10 million in improper, why they do in improper? So $10 million in improper direct loan payments were disbursed before the department restored the NSLDS post-screener, which is literally they call it the NSLDS. They didn't even write it out. Okay, that's cool. FAFSA identification, verification, and fraud detection. Just going through it, guys. So they said they found in early February that 40 million in direct student loan, not direct student loans, $40 million in direct loan payments and an additional 6 million in Pell grants were incorrectly disbursed to ineligible individuals. And you can find all this information, guys, real quick on the U.S. Department of Education website. The title of it is U.S. Department of Education Fights Fraud and Student Aid to Protect the American Taxpayer. This was published yesterday. And so I'm going to put it in the chat for you all, too. I had to go back and edit it, of course, once it uploads, but I can definitely put this in here for you all to look at. It's very good to read. And so if you have questions, always comment if you have questions. If I don't know the answer, I can definitely find somebody who knows the answer, for sure. That's why we're trying to build this community so we all can talk about it. And then we all can ask each other now, like, oh, what's going on? What's the word? What's the word? What's the verdict? What's the verdict? I don't know. You know? I don't know. You work in a college, hey? You know? So that's pretty much it on that. And then it gives like resources for student and parents. So please, if you are a parent or guardian, and please go to the U.S. Department of Education. It's a lot of resources on there I wish I would have known in high school that I could have told my mom and dad. It's a lot of things that can help you, who is a person who's getting ready to start higher education, like getting ready to start your I said higher education, getting ready to start your college, or as I like to say, your collegiate career. It's a lot of helpful information on there, because if you know your rights, the school has to be like, oh, okay. Then it's like law a little bit, And so, do we got any posts? Let's see. Does anybody have any schools they want to recommend? And we can look at, usually at the end. So what we're going to start doing at the end, we're going to name one, unless it's like, the chat gets too big, where everybody is naming a president, not a president, but a college president, like too many of them, because we only can do one. I feel like one is good enough, or two. Like, we're going to look at that school college presidents and then work our way to like what they're making now. And so name a school, a school that you want to know how much the college president make. I say that because execs and college presidents make millions of dollars, or easily six figures, plus millions of dollars, depending on the school. And it's just interesting because the people on the bottom, it is an oligarchy, and like all the execs at the top make all the money in higher education. The people on the bottom who are like entry level, they make pennies, man. They make pennies. I won't even speak on some schools, how bad they do. But, I like to go at the end. It stops at 2022, of course, because they got to get it from the IPEDS. I think I said that right. It's IPEDS, and they have to, crunch the data and all that and break it down. Like, did they get extra money? And, so. But we're going to look at one. Like right now, actually. I wonder why they posted this. Oh, yeah, Chancellor. I don't know. I don't know why that popped up on that, but I don't see any post. And shout out to the graduates again. We still got people graduating, and shout out to North Carolina Community College System. They still got people graduating, class of 2025. See, people still graduating. And where? All right. And guys, I like to get my sources from LinkedIn, very credible. A lot of higher ed professionals are on LinkedIn, by the way. So if you want to get some information, a lot of them post on here. So, not really getting anything. Let's go to X. If then we'll have anything on X, then we will be, and then we'll do our last one, but then we'll be done. We will be done. Let's see. Show me my posts. Okay, we got something. Let's see if this is big news. So I believe this is the American Council Education. American Council on Education. They're so different. They said on education. They're so brilliant. They said 1 hour ago, I don't know if this is big news. Let me read it. I don't know how to judge this. So you should follow the American Council on Education. They said we are leveling the playing field and reorganizing the amazing work that is done within our campuses, focused on their mission, their communities, and the places that they love. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. Campuses, they got too many things going on. The campus climate or climate campus climate. I believe it's campus climate. That's a thing. Trying to figure out how to navigate your campus. I won't go into detail. That'll be a whole nother rant. We can say that for tomorrow, right? So, is tomorrow Friday? I think tomorrow Friday, guys. Let me check. Oh, it closed out. Wow. It closed out, guys. My computer does that sometimes. Like, we're live, but I can't see if you're commenting. I can see if you're commenting, it'll pop up, I'll catch it. But if I've been looking up here and you comment, I'll miss it. So, yeah, you want to do that. I gotta love it. We can talk about that. That's a topic. So I'm not seeing anything, no news, no recent news. I'm starting to realize they're gonna post some news as soon as we get off. Every time I get off with you all, hey, oh, that's related to stocks, guys. So let's go look at the presidents because we're not getting much right now. As always, that's why we started doing it because they don't give us enough news anyway. So real quick, let's do this. I've been holding you up, just looking at me. I'm not that special to be just looking at. Okay. School? No? I'll name one. We talked about the University of Michigan today. So we read an article on them. So let's see how much the University of Michigan presidents make. University of Michigan at Ann Arbor. So they separating them again. Goody. We're gonna say Ann Arbor. And I'm gonna Google this because I don't know if Ann Arbor is I don't know if that's, make sure that's the same blue and gold Michigan. University of Ann, what is it called? Yeah, Ann Arbor. Okay, Ann Arbor, in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Okay, that's literally the little city, I believe, city, Ann Arbor. So we got the correct one, and that's our daily briefing. We'll do daily briefing tomorrow. That's from the Chronicles of Higher Education. We get some information. So in 2010, a college president was making $553,000 a year. They got a bonus of $100K. Then they got some other compensations, $75K. Okay, and then 2011, they was making $570, another $100K bonuses. They were doing bonuses for presidents back then. And then still in the 500 range. It went from 500, so 2010 to 2012, 500K. Then 2013, it was 600K. President was making 600K in 2013, and they got a 200K bonus. So they really made, in 2013, this university president, oh, we can do presidents by name. But we ain't gonna drop no names. Because we ain't gonna know them anyway. So they made about 800K in 2013, and then they made about another 700, went down. Actually, the pay stayed the same, but their bonus went down. Then in 2015, it went up to $772,000. Then 2016, come on, computer. So 2015 to 2016, the pay stayed the same, and my computer is not acting right, y'all. And so then, 2015 to 2017. It stayed in the 700s, close to 800. That's when I graduated high school. Then after 2017, they started making 800 and some thousand, like 823,000. 2019, they're making 868. They stayed in the eights from 2018 till 2020. 2020, their pay went down. of course, the pandemic. And pandemic, a lot of universities lost money. They was cutting back, and even some people was taking pay cuts. But going from 868,000 to 833,000, ain't really no pay cut, if you ask me. So then they went from in 2020 to 2021. When 2021 hit, they went back up to $901,000 a year. And then 2022, they started making $1.1 million with other compensation of $352,000 in 2022. Whoever that president was, they were godly. You got to think about it. This president, on top of that, they made like 1.4 million. They were making more than some people who are athletes. This your college president that takes pictures. It's nothing, I don't think nothing wrong with it. Once again, till somebody comes on and talk different, all I see a college president do is take pictures. They work with the board of directors at the college. And I just don't understand it. I don't know. I just don't understand it. But somebody gonna have to come over here and talk to me because I be really trying to figure it out. Just try to figure it out. And then 2023, they was making $1 million, but they also got other compensation for 162,000. And the other one, I won't mention it. But they also get non-taxable benefits too. For some reason, college presidents or they be getting non-taxable benefits. I should look into that. How do you get non-taxable benefits and as a employee of higher education? Let's ask ChatGPT real quick. Because I be working at higher education. I wouldn't know how to do that. I wouldn't know how to get non-taxable benefits. So presidents are making millions of dollars, as you can see. We just went through the spiel. That was University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. Their presidents they started like at the threes and worked their way up to the millions by 2022. And so how does a employee in higher education, probably trying to figure that out too, get non-taxable benefits? Easy question, right? Maybe someday somebody will comment and tell me how you get non-taxable benefits in higher education. I would love to get some tax-free money. So employees in higher education, ChatGPT is working while we wait. See guys, I'm using my AI skills with you all right now. And waiting for my account. Come back up. Computer is buffering. As always. So, all right. Common non-taxable benefits in higher education. This is ChatGPT. I don't see them quoting anything, so okay. They say tuition remission for employees and dependents. Employees may receive tax-free tuition for courses at their institution. That doesn't mean that's a benefits of pay. Hold up, did they say non-taxable benefits? Because I said, yeah, non-taxable benefits. Okay, that's what it said. We're learning something. Graduate tuition is tax-free up to $5,250 a year under IRS rules. Huh. Interesting. Graduate tuition is tax-free graduate tuition is tax-free up to $5,250 a year under the IRS rules. That's interesting. What you mean tax-free? So, I'm wondering. They got the health insurance, retirement contributions, housing. They said housing in some cases. What you mean? If you are required to live on campus for work, wow. Residence, life staff, or certain faculty roles, housing may be tax-free under strict IRS conditions. Interesting. Okay. This is all ChatGPT. Well, we don't know if some of this is credible, but it does come from the internet right away. So, okay. I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to, yeah. So that's what we do at the end. We go through presidents who, we go through what presidents make at the institution. We talk about it. We go through it, and yeah, and make you exposed to that. It's a lot of money in higher education. So for anybody who thinks there's no money in higher education, you, as they say, you played yourself. So yeah, don't play yourself. And so we did pretty good. We had 8 people who viewed the chat. Shout out to the 8 people who viewed the chat. Everybody who came through, even though we didn't get to say hey to you, it's okay, because we're saying hey now when you watch it at the end. And we will see you tomorrow. Is Friday, guys. Yeah, we can work tomorrow in the morning. And we will see you tomorrow, and expect some videos to be scheduling to come out. We got a video coming out at 12 and some more coming out. So just staying consistent, right? Hopefully we learning something. Hopefully you learning something and I'm learning something, because I'm learning as I read through this and do it with you all. So, all right. Peace.